Welcome back to your English class. Today we are going to learn something about a great personality who belongs to India. He is also celebrated worldwide to be a very popular scientist. He is a space research scientist from India. He was born in Tamil Nadu and he also served as the 11th President of India from the year 2002 till 2007. I am sure by now you would have guessed who I am talking about. It is none other than Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. He is not just a scientist or a president, he is also been one of the best teachers ever and a very favorite for most of the children who are in the phase of a student's life. Many people follow his thoughts and quotes. And today what we are going to see as a chapter for your class 9 English is titled My Childhood. So as we start seeing about this chapter, there are a lot of fun-filled, interesting facts which we are going to know about our very favorite Dr. Kalam. So can we just elaborate the name of Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam? I guess many of you would know it by now. He is Dr. Abul Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam. So Jainuddin is his father's name. So as we progress with the chapter, we will know a lot more about Dr. Kalam. He was born among the 5 kids in his family. He was brought up in Tamil Nadu in a town called Rameshwaram, which is quite famous for the Rameshwaram temple. It's also a famous tourist town in India. So how he grew up, what were part of his childhood? The chapter mainly focuses on his childhood memories, and this chapter is one small part of the autobiography that was written by Dr. Kalam. So let's take a look at what the chapter is about. Like I told you, we are going to be discussing about the chapter My Childhood, that is written by Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. Before I start the chapter, I would like to share an interesting fact about this book titled Wings of Fire. Like I told you, this chapter is a small part of the autobiography written by Dr. Kalam. The book is titled Wings of Fire. So in his busy schedule, when he wrote this book, he was given the help by a co-author, that is Arun Tiwari. So Arun Tiwari has written 5 books along with Dr. Kalam. He has not only written the book titled Wings of Fire, Arun Tiwari is a missile scientist. He has also written 5 books in total with Dr. Kalam. Not just these books, he is in general an author and a professor and a missile scientist by profession. So, Wings of Fire is the autobiography of Dr. Kalam, written by Dr. Kalam and co-authored by Arun Tiwari. So, if you are interested in knowing a lot more about Dr. Kalam, this is the book that you need to follow. But he has given a small portion from his childhood, which is given to our textbook with the title My Childhood. Like I told you, he was born in Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is a small town in Tamil Nadu. This is also called as the Island Town. And Dr. Kalam is known as the greatest aerospace scientist from India. He is not just known in India, he is also world renowned. He is famous around the world. He has won many awards and honorary doctorates and many honors and medals from various countries around the world. He has also been given 5 honorary doctorates and different awards. The highest awards in India from the government which he has got are Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan and Bharat Ratna. So you all know from Bismillah Khan's chapter that Bharat Ratna is the highest award that is first civilian in India. So not just the Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan, he has also been awarded Bharat Ratna. And then I told you that his complete name is Abul Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam, known to us popularly as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam or just Dr. Kalam. And I also told you that he has served as the President of India from the year 2002 till 2007. So let's take a look at a small part of the autobiography titled Wings of Fire, given to us as My Childhood, written by Dr. Kalam. Before you read, there is a few points given in this book. Can you think of any scientists who have also been a statesman? So Abdul Kalam is the particular scientist who became a statesman, that is the President of India. If you know of other scientists, feel free to share during the online class. APJ Abdul Kalam, whose projects in science, defense and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. In his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he speaks of his childhood. So, mostly all these points we have covered by now. If you look at the writings of this chapter, the text of this chapter, you will see that it is written on account of first person. Remember the first person pronouns? It is I or we. So I is the first person singular pronoun, and most of the happenings is written from the first person point of view. Who is I here in this chapter? It is always Dr. Kalam. So let's start reading. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. So erstwhile you can underline. Erstwhile means earlier known to be. The former name of Chennai was Madras. My father, Jainuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. So in the first paragraph itself, he introduces his father, Mr. Jainuddin. He says that he was not educated nor he was rich. But even with these advantages, that is being uneducated and not being rich, he had great wisdom and he had a beautiful heart which can touch the souls. He had a big-hearted soul. The word innate means which is inborn. He had an innate wisdom. So that wisdom, the knowledge, the quality was inborn to his father. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyamma. So his mother's name is Ashiyamma, and his father had found a true soulmate, a person who can help him in anything that he wanted. That's why Dr. Kalam labeled his father and mother as soulmate, who would help each other according to their requirements. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. So what he says is, whenever we had meals, more than the members of the family, there were outsiders who came to have food with us. And his mother always fed them with a happy smile on her face. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. So he says, as a child, he was not having any great looks. He looked very ordinary. Undistinguished word means a very ordinary personality. He says undistinguished looks. So with appearance, he looked like an ordinary person, not a very handsome or a beautiful looking child. Whereas he says that his parents, his father and mother were very handsome looking. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. So in 18 something year, his house was built, and he calls it to be an ancestral house. Ancestral means something which belonged to the forefathers. It has been coming from generation to generation, and it is passed on to the next generations to come. It was a fairly large pakka house. Pakka house means made of concrete and bricks, not the mud house. Made of limestone and brick on the mosque street in Rameshwaram. Though they lived in Rameshwaram, the house was a pakka house and it was built in the mosque street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. Note the word austere, A-U-S-T-E-R-E, which means his father was very strict, but he believed in being a very simple human being. So he said, my austere father, he always used to avoid what was not necessary for a living. He felt luxuries were not needed to lead a simple life. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicines or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So like he said, his father never gave importance to luxuries and things which were beyond necessary. So he says, as a child, I was never deprived of the basic necessities for a livelihood. So he had emotional support as well as materialistic support. That is the objects and things which are needed in a person's life. Needed, not luxury. So he was provided with everything that was basically needed and a very good emotional support. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. Note the years 1939. That's when the World War II broke out. And what was the age of Abdul Kalam at that time? He was just 8 years old. So at the age of 8, he saw that World War had begun. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So when he was a small child, he said that he would understand everything that happens around him. And when World War II broke out in the year 1939, he saw that there was a huge demand for small tamarind seeds in the market. So probably people started collecting the seeds. Tamarind, you all know children, which is used in the household for preparing various curries. Sambar, rasam and all, which is predominantly prepared in the southern part of our country. So whether it is any region of South India, tamarind is widely used, and the seeds that come out of this tamarind was much in demand during that time. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. So what happened? He used to collect the seeds. When his mother would cook at home, he used to collect the small seeds, collect them together and sell it to the provision shop, that is the grocery store. So he used to sell them and he used to get a princely amount. Princely amount means a very good amount for the seeds that he could sell. 1 anna. I have written 1 anna is the olden times money and 1 anna equaled 6 paise. So every time he would sell those tamarind seeds, he would earn 6 paise for himself. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines of Dinamani. So Dinamani is the newspaper which has been coming since the olden times, and whatever his brother-in-law Jalaluddin told him about the war, he would try to locate that news in the newspaper titled Dinamani. Our area being isolated was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. So what happened? When the countries were coming to fight, the Allied forces were the armies of UK, US and Russia during the Second World War, which were fighting against the other countries of the World War. So these countries were fighting against Germany, which was on the other side of the war. What happened? India was also forced to be a part of the Allied forces, that is UK, USA and Russia. The first because of this war and the pressure on India to support them, an emergency was declared. Emergency is like lockdown during those times. So people were not allowed to come out of their houses and they were all meant to stay inside. Severe action were taken against those people who would violate these rules. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So what happened? The trains which were plying from one place to the other, many were halted. They were stopped. So the train which would come to Rameshwaram station will not stop there. The halt of the train was cancelled. So the train which is coming from another place, crossing Rameshwaram and going towards the end of its destination, it will not stop in Rameshwaram. Let's see what they did because of this. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So Rameshwaram is almost towards the southern end of the Indian map, and Dhanushkodi is almost the tip of that tip on the end of the Indian map. So what happened? This train which was crossing Rameshwaram and going to Dhanushkodi would not stop in Rameshwaram station. So the newspapers had to be bundled, tied together and thrown out of the moving train. So this required people to take up this job. So some facts about Dhanushkodi I wish to share. Like I told you, it is the endmost point of India, and interestingly enough, from Dhanushkodi, Sri Lanka is just 24 kilometers away. It is also believed that people can just swim across the ocean and reach the islands of Sri Lanka. So this is a high priority area where a lot of fishermen and other people just try to cross the borders. And this place, Dhanushkodi, has been abandoned during the cyclone which hit India in the year 1964. So even now, abandoned remains of houses and other buildings can be seen in this place. But as of now, this is a very good tourism place for people to visit from different parts of our country. And mythologically, if you see, in the story of Ramayana, it is believed that Lord Rama had asked Lord Hanuman to build a stone bridge so that the army can go to Sri Lanka for the fight, the famous Ramayana fight. So Dhanushkodi is the place from which the Rama Setu was built to cross the ocean and reach Sri Lanka. So let's come back to the lesson and see what happened with the newspaper bundles that were meant to be thrown out of the moving train. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally, I filled the slots. So because his cousin wanted someone to help him, he felt I was the only one available and he used my services as help to catch hold of the newspaper bundles which he would throw out from the train. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. So as he is writing this autobiography, which is 50 years after the incident of earning money by catching the thrown away newspaper bundles, he says that even now I feel a lot of pride when I think of earning my first wages. So he used to catch newspaper for which he was given some amount as salary. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. So all of us, when we are born with some natural skills, some good qualities, bad qualities. We are all made up of a complete element of goodness and badness. Some will be up, some will be down. So he says, in a socio-economic and emotional environment. So socio-economic is what is happening based on the surroundings, socially and economically, what happens, and the environment of your family, which gives you an emotional way of building up your characteristic. So he says that when a person is born, they inherit some qualities from and sisters. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my 3 brothers and sisters. Like I told you, there were 5 children born to Ashiyama and Jainul Abdul, 4 sons and 1 daughter. So he says, I inherited goodness and kindness from my mother and sincerity and honesty from my father. I had 3 close friends in my childhood. So now we are going to look at the socio-economic, socially what happened around him. I had 3 close friends in my childhood: Ramanatha Shastri, Aravindan and Siva Prakashan. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. So we all can see that he was born, Dr. Kalam was born in an Islamic family, and the 3 friends he has mentioned here are from very Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. So socially, when you see that too in a time which is 70-80 years back, lot of differences were seen socially among different religions. But here, Dr. Kalam mentions that he had 3 best friends and all belonged to a different religion. Let's see what he says about them. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. So that's how their friendship was, based on religion and the way they were brought up with their orthodox beliefs. These 4 friends never had any issues with each other. In fact, Ramanatha Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of Rameshwaram temple from his father. Aravindan went into business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims, and Siva Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. So he has mentioned 3 friends here. The first one is Ramanatha Shastri, who was the son of the high priest in the temple. So the person who performs the daily ritual puja and the traditions inside the temple, the one who was of the highest authority. So Ramanatha Shastri was the son of that priest. And then the second friend is Aravindan, who went on to do pilgrimage business. So he was like a tour operator who would arrange for pilgrimage for people who wants to go on a pilgrim yatra. And the third friend is Siva Prakashan, who became a catering contractor. Catering means basically the cooking means, and contractor is like an agent. Where did he do this business? He did it for the Southern Railways. I think we can stop here for now. We will carry on with the remaining chapter through our second part of this, through the next video. Till then, read this chapter. Try to understand everything. It's written in a very simple language. I hope you all enjoyed knowing about Dr. Kalam. We have a few more points to know from his childhood days. Let's wait for the next video. Thank you.